Hi, I'm Lonna Kelly. Welcome to It's Your Move. Today we're going to be talking to Shannon Cobb, who is with United Way of Westchester and Putnam Counties, and they do provide a lot of services and referrals throughout the two counties, but also have a larger role in the Hudson Valley itself. So Shannon, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Lonna.
No, you're welcome. So let's get started by telling everybody, what is the mission of the United Way?
Well, we are in a very exciting time right now because our mission has been to advance the common good. And our board has been looking at that mission to see if it really truly reflects the work that we're doing in Westchester and Putnam. And so next month we're adopting a new mission statement to help people towards self-sufficiency, to thrive in a stronger community. So we're really excited about that, and we have several different strategies for achieving that mission that we're rolling out over the next few months.
So I'm sure you've done a lot of work on this and studied the needs of the counties and you know, where you would be most effective?
Yeah, every 4 years United Way does an extensive survey and community assessment, really looking at the current needs of the community, if they've changed, what new trends are happening, and where are there gaps in services. So we want to address everything that's happening.
And so what direction will the new mission statement take you in?
Well, it's all around helping people to become self-sufficient, and that starts when a child is very young. We see, especially in poorer homes, that there is an education gap that starts as early as 2 years old. And so we need to get kids ready for school, and the critical time is actually in 3rd grade, where kids are not reading proficiently by 3rd grade. And in Westchester and Putnam, many people are surprised to learn that the reading rate right now is only at 38%. So those are 38% of our kids are reading proficiently. That means 62% are not. And these kids are 4 times more likely to drop out of school. And if they're from a poor family, they're actually 13 times more likely to drop out of school. So we've launched a new campaign called United to Read, and we're getting lots of people involved to look at early childhood education through to 3rd grade. So that's one strategy. We also are looking at helping to get adults who have been chronically unemployed job skills and training and financial stability, that they can manage their funds, become employed in a career that actually can pay their bills. And that's really exciting work as well, because there's a lot of people in transition whose skills don't match the needs and the jobs that are in our community. And then our 3rd strategy is our 211 helpline. And that is really catching people who are in crisis or in a point in their lives where they may become in crisis, and giving them services, connecting them to services in the community that will help stabilize their lives, or give them information on any of the 25,000 services that are available to them in the community. 25,000
services, wow, that's a lot.
Yes.
You know, we live in a relatively wealthy area where there is very high income. And I was telling you before about the man I overheard speaking about how it's almost impossible to not have enough money in this country. And could you just talk about that a little bit? How is that possible?
Well, we have an awful lot of people call 211. Every year we have about 48,000 calls. So we do see a lot of what people are struggling with day to day. You'd be surprised at the basic needs that people have in our community. A lot of the issues around housing, because our rent is so high. If you are making a low wage, then you may need up to 4 jobs to sustain the rent in our community. So a lot of people are out of affordable homes. We have childcare. It's very expensive in our community. So if you have 2 children and it costs $250 a week to put a child in childcare, that's a lot more money than a lot of families make. A family of 4 in our area generally has to make about $57,000 just to sustain. That's not to save, that's not to be ready for retirement, that's just to pay the bills this week. So a lot of people make less than that, unfortunately. And those people are the ones that need the food from the food shelters. They need extra supplemental assistance on utilities, and they really need a lot of support in order just to maintain their life. And these are working families. They're not people that are goofing off. They're really struggling. Right, yeah. When I overheard that man, what I was thinking about was that we had just bought coffee at a coffee shop, and it's part of a strip of stores, and thinking about how much the people who were serving the coffee were making, and you know, in our region, a living wage is probably about $25, where you can work one job and afford a modest apartment, and I seriously doubt anybody in any of those stores is making that much money. Yeah, every day we pass people who are not making ends meet that we take for granted, just like the person serving coffee, the person that is driving your taxi cab or the bus that you took to work, the person at the gas station where you filled up. And we pass people all day long that aren't making ends meet, and we don't realize how hard they're working and how much they need our support. Right, right. So if I am in that situation, let's say I'm in that situation, I have 2 children, I have a full-time job, but I also have a part-time job, and I'm really struggling, and I am concerned I can't pay the bills at the end of the month. Eviction is a possibility, and I want to call 211. What kind of help could I get? So 211 is open 365 days a year. It is free, confidential, and it is available in over 200 languages. So it is there for people to call throughout the year for any reason. We have people calling who are in real crisis. Maybe there's violence in the home, maybe there's somebody that in their family they suspect of drug use, or they have a disability and they can't get to the medical appointment that they need. And so these are all things that our call specialists are trained to work with the person to figure out what services are best for them and what they're eligible for. Because there's a lot of services out there, but it doesn't mean that they're all appropriate. So it keeps people from having to make hours of calls and fill out unnecessary paperwork. It gets them right to where they need to be. Right, yeah, when you're in a crisis and your life is shattering, you don't want to make, or you can't make 20 calls. You want to make that one call, and that's a great service. Does that cost anything for people to call and get that kind of information? It's completely free, and they can call as many times as they want. If they call, they usually try to break the issues down into small bites, because most of the time somebody has a lot of issues that are going on, especially if it's poverty or income based. They'll start with their immediate needs. Are you hungry? Do you need food? Then they'll work on some of the larger needs of housing, and then long-term needs such as getting a job, getting themselves a little more self-sufficient again. So it's working at one step at a time, because most of the people calling may be overwhelmed with all of the issues. And our call specialists are trained to listen very well. If they hear baby in the background, you know, I hear you have a baby, do you have food? And the person may be calling about something that seems irrelevant, but really they're hungry. So they're really trained to kind of dive in a little more thoroughly into what's going on. Yeah, let's just get back to the reading issue for one moment. You had said that the goal was to get kids reading proficiently by 3rd grade, and you know, I know both of my kids struggled with reading. Thank God they're now college graduates. They did okay. They're doing well, but they didn't read till 3rd grade, and I mean, we worked on it. We read thousands of books, it seems like. What can low-income parents do if they don't have access to books for their children? And I think this is the big problem, because 61% of low-income children don't have any children's books in their home. So United Way is working with lots of people in the community to do a book drive every fall. We're putting it together in book kits that we can bring to low-income families, so they have that resource. And also activities that they can do with their kids, because it's that talking that we do with our kids that makes a big difference. I also was behind in reading when I was a kid, but my mom's a school teacher, and so she worked with me and she talked with me and she did silly games with me when I was little, and those make a really big difference for a child. Getting them to school is actually a very important one. Many parents don't realize how important attendance every day is. If they miss as little as 2 days a month, they're considered chronically absent, and those kids are significantly less likely to be reading on grade level.
Yeah, it's such a big issue. What about the libraries, though? I mean, there's libraries in every town. Why aren't people, what's the issue around that?
I love libraries, and libraries have fantastic programs in them. A lot of families that are in poverty have transportation issues. So if you are working 2 jobs, the library may not be open at the time that you're able to get there. I know my children have access to the library at school, but they're only allowed to take 1 book out.
Right.
So it really makes a big difference when the children are small and they can go through a book pretty fast, that they have access to books in the home.
Yeah, I love the idea of the book drives to get books for kids and get them going. Just briefly, what would you say is the biggest category of calls that you get on the 211 line?
It is basic needs, the food, the housing, transportation and child care, utilities. Those are all, what we consider basic needs, and families are struggling, working families, and so they just need a little bit extra to kind of get to the end of the month. Right.
Well, it's great you're there. And is that just in Westchester and Putnam, or does it go into a larger area?
We cover the full Hudson Valley region, and 211 is also offered across the state, and it's actually offered in most of the country as well. But we handle the Hudson Valley 211 call center. Yeah,
what a great resource. So we only have about a minute left, and we had our list of what we were going to talk about. We didn't get to a lot of things, but we did get to cover a lot. And I just, how do people get in touch with, I mean, all you have to do is dial 211, and you'll be tied into this?
Yep, you just dial 211, and you'll be linked to a call specialist who can help you with the next step.
Okay, and the services that are offered through United Way are free of charge?
They're free of charge.
That's great. That's great. I have to add that the services through Westchester Independent Living Center and Putnam Independent Living Services are also free of charge for people who need them. So I'd like to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me
today. It was great to have you and learn about what's going on at United Way.